Welcome to Ganita Sutras Mathematics on First Principles and Teachers Orientation Chase. Today we are entering a new phase, Unit 4, which is to focus upon the illustrative applications and blissful exercises formats. Means what are the formats along which we have to have a chase of our exercises of applied values. And as Vedic mathematics teachers, we have to appreciate that the students and teachers are to have knowledge transformation phase, and for it we know we have to avail the particular mathematical entities, values and formats. Entities essentially are to be availed as values 1 to 9, which will help us make an array of numerals for the place value system, and also parallelly we will be having the interval, square, cube and hypercubes as the representative bodies of 1 space, 2 space, 3 space and 9 space. Essentially, the mathematics of applied values is availing and is to be availed and is to be worked out in terms of the values 1 to 9 and the geometric entities of interval, square and hypercubes. Therefore, it is the space content which is the basic Chase focus. It is space, it is Akash. This is Akash Tattva, and the Dravya, the space content, is the basic Chase subject. So applied values or applications of Ganita Sutras mathematics is essentially to be availed for chasing the space content, its manifestation, manifested existence phenomenon and the transcendence therefrom. Therefore, it is the existence phenomenon within frames like a tree, evolution from a seed, and then there a reach to be a second generation seed. Likewise, the existence phenomenon as Purusha, human frame, then birds, animals, and other phenomenons of the earth, moon, and other celestial objects, their motions, and the connected phenomena. Therefore, all these areas of applications, applied values of mathematics are to be chased, to be learned, and to be worked out. When we begin our chase for the applied values as blissful exercises, first of all, we have to reach at the formats. Which are the formats along which the pure values can be chased and utilized as an applied values? Ekadhiken Purve is Ganita Sutra 1. Therefore, the chase for the formats as well as for availing a chase for pure values is to begin with the Ganita Sutra 1 itself, and this chase will take up till Sutra 16, and parallelly there will be chase for Upsutras, and there would be different ways of availing. One way would be that from Sutra 1 we shall simultaneously reach at Upsutra 1 and then to avail Sutra 1 together with Upsutra 1. The another way would be reach from Sutra 1 to Sutra 2. Here way could be to reach from Sutra 1 to Sutra 2. We can have a straight way reach from Sutra 1 to Sutra 2 or from Upsutra 1 to Sutra 2, and likewise we can have many formats, many chase steps would follow depending upon the situations which we will be confronted with the existence phenomenon of ours within our solar universe, including all connected aspects of the universal solar universe itself, solar universe as of interaction with the brain of, or as per the interaction of the Purusha format and the Brahm format, or as per the formats of the birds with the solar universe and other existence phenomena within frames, without frames. So there could be very, very rich spectrum of the needs, and there would be very rich spectrum of the formats which will be available and which can be worked out. However, slowly, sequentially, let us first of all focus upon Ekadhikain Purve. Now, this Ekadhikain Purve is a single text, so it deserves to be taken up as a complete scripture, as a complete discipline in itself. Then the second stage would be that let us reach at its constituents. The constituents of this scripture, this text Ekadhikain Purve, are the letters. We see there are 16 letters and there are two formulations. These two formulations are having individually 9 letters and 7 letters. Therefore, the value 16, value 1 as with the text and as Sutra 1 as well, value 16 as the total letters, and then values 9 and 7 as the letters of the pair of formulations which make the text of Vinita Sutra 1. These values 1, 16, 9 and 7 as such at the outset gives us a format, because 1 is a very wholesome format. It will be 1, it can be 1 cross 1, it can be 1 cross 1 cross 1 and so on. It can be 1 over 1, 1 over 2, 1 over 3, so on. And in many ways we see the value 1 is manifesting itself, expressing itself, and therefore whole range of features, whole range of formats will be emerging and would be available when we will focus upon value 1, particularly when we will work it or we will reach it or we approach it in terms of the working rule of Ekadhikain Purve, which comes to be 1 more than before. This 1 more than before is a thing which can take us 1 to 1 plus 1, and we designate it as 2. Therefore, this 1 more than 1 as 1 also could be as a step, one step at a time, or one step, then we can reach at first step and a second step. Then we can have with it the firstly, means which is being taken at the originally, then secondly, the sequence in which we will be working it out. It could be, one could be a single, one can be a soul, one can be whole, one can be alone. All these are the features and these are the values, and these ultimately manifest the formats along which, in terms of which, we will be availing the working route 1 more than before. Also, when we will reach at value 16, we see that 16 accepts an organization 2 raised to power 4, which would mean that we are working with a quadruple values 2 parallel to it, means we are working with 2 space quadruple number of times, with square as its representative body, means we will be working with as many as quadruple squares. We also know that one square accepts an organization as quadruple quarter squares. This way we see that the value 16 will start unfolding itself, and sequentially it will be providing us different formats which would be available, and in terms of which we have to have our applied values parallel to the pure values. Further, we know that this quadruple setup, quarter square setup, is also taking us to a dimensional frame of 4 space, means 2 space playing the role of a dimension of a 4 space, and there are as many as 4 quad space, and so this value 16 will also be helping us have an idea of how the dimensional frame of a 4 space is being worked out, being organized. So this will be the another format will be emerging. Further, when we'll chase values range 1 to 16, we will say we'll be having the factors as many as 29. Therefore, for value 16, we'll be having 16 plus 13, means additional 13 value would be available. And here we can have a pause and take note that 16 sutras are having 13 up-sutras. Therefore, it will give us an insight as to how the up-sutras are flowing from the sutras themselves, or otherwise how we know that Sutra 1 and Sutra 2 as such appear to have, and certainly it has a gap. So to have a transition from here to here, we need a bridging here, and this bridging, this mathematics of bridging of Sutra 1 to Sutra 2 and likewise ahead of all sutras are to be supplied by up-sutras, and it will make an integrated domain. Further, also we know that value 29 is going to be the TCV value of formulation Brahma, and Brahma is the creator, the supreme, and is the overlord of the creators, the space, for space. This way it appears on the face of it that these values, so these values and these features of the text of Ganita Sutra Ekadike and Purve as a wholesome, complete scripture, a complete text, and then it leads us to the pair of formulations, so it leads us value 2. Therefore, this reach from 1 to value 2 in fact will take us to a dimonad format. So from monad to dimonad format is also inherently embedded, and or the inherent potentialities of the text of Ekadike and Purve being a set of a pair of formulations. And it is here where we will see that from a line we will be availing a surface, and we further know within a surface we can have a line and a plane itself, and therefore it will be providing us the inherent potentialities as to how this text as a wholesome single hymn as a setup of manifestation along a dimonad format. And we know within a surface we can have a line and square both together, so the inward organization, the internal structure will start unfolding. Further, see that value 16 here as per the letters is leading us to 9 and 7, and we know that 9 space is having 7 space in the role of a dimension. Therefore, it is also providing us a format. So 9 and 7 as such are leading us to a organization format of a domain and a dimension. Further, we know that when there is a flow from the soul syllable Om from its Bindu Sarovar, so Bindu Sarovar is having value 9 and there are 7 streams flow therefrom, it leads to value 7, and then there are triple streams on one side, triple speeds on either side, and central speed flowing forward, and it is leading us to what is the phenomenon of a Divya Ganga Pravaha. So this Divya Ganga Pravaha as well is the format which is immediately available and is inherently embedded in it, and it leads us to in the form of the number of the letters it is having. A step ahead, when we go to the TCB values, we saw that the first formulation ekadikain is having TCB value 40, while the second formulation is having 35. Let us have a pause and see that value 40 accepts an organization 5 into 8, while the formulation 35 accepts a formulation 5 into 7. So it is the phenomenon of a one more than before. It is here. We can have a pause and see that the working rule one more than in when is of a diamond format, then rule one more than before can take us to m and n plus 1, and it can also take us to m plus 1 and n, and still further it also can take us to m plus 1 and n plus 1. Like this, see how the working rule one more than one in the format of a diamond is helping us have a very rich format, and how this rich format, when is availed, then it will lead us to very rich values flow. And if instead of diamond, if we are having a trimonad setup, and then here we can see how it can have an increase here, or increase here, or increase here, or it can have simultaneously increase here, or simultaneously increase here, or simultaneously increase here, and further it also can have simultaneously increase along all the monads of a trimonad. So from monad to a dimonad to a trimonad, like that we see that this formation of one more than before is unfolding from within for us a large number of formats which are to be availed. And likewise, when we write 1, 2, 3 and reach up till 9, this is an expression of a single digits. However, there can be expression of for the same as double digits as well. So this double digit expression is another format, and we'll step ahead, we can have triple digit formats as well. And this way we see how one more than before is sequentially leading us to different formats. Still ahead, we say we can have 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on, and then we can have 1 into 1, 1 into 2, 1 into 3, 1 into 4. Here, while the first we are having a linear units, however, we can simultaneously have an area unit. Therefore, this format of linear sequencing one more than one along the line format or one space format is having the values of a single unit length, single unit length, single unit length, single unit length, single, and simultaneously 1 into 1 single area unit, and again a single area unit, single area unit, and a step ahead, naturally we can have the solid units format as well. In this way, we see that the rule one more than before is leading us to really very beautiful and very rich formats of the mathematics. So the sequential chase in terms of the formation ekadike and purve is giving us a very wide, very rich formats available which can be availed. And now let us see if we are having 1 raised per 0, 2 raised per 0, 3 raised per 0. This is a format. Then we can have 1 raised per 1, 2 raised per 1, 3 raised per 1. Further we can have 1 raised per 2, 2 raised per 2, 3 raised per 2. And like that you can reach up till 1 raised per n, 2 raised per n, 3 raised per n and so on. See how the rich spectrum is emerging. This rich spectrum of formats are emerging when we are having the features of the TCB values. Step ahead, when we are having say Vedic code values and gives us 21, we see that value 21 is a value which is 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6, and here value 9 and here value 12. See, it is 3 into 3 and it is 3 into 4. It is one more than before. It is this formation, it is this organization which further giving us a reach up till this, and this we know is a reach of a Sthapatya miring rod. So hypercubes 1 to 6 are synthesized and giving us a format of hypercubes 1 to 6. And this way, see the Vedic code values initially is giving us this feature, and further we'll see it will give us a more and more broader features. This syllable code values, we know it gives us a format of hypercube 5 as a 5-space domain with a solid order. See how blissful it is that when within a 4-space we are having 5 space as an origin, and then we know 5 space is a transcendental base. Therefore, when this transcends so to 5 space, that means this carries along with it its dimensional frame as well, and therefore at the base there is a superimposition of a dimension upon a domain. Very big format, very blissful format, very beautiful format, and the Yama code values are taking us to the ultimate affine format here, that we know 0 plus 0 is equal to 0 is equal to 0 into 0 is equal to minus 0 into minus 0. One may have a pause here and take note that the existence phenomenon of a 0 is available inherently within the formulation. We know eka adhike, ek adhik, one more, came from what? This is a question. Now, one is more than what? 0. It is how the value 0 is inherently available, is presumed. So this inherent availability of value 0, and it gives a definition of 1. Further, we know 0 as a single entity set will accept an cardinality 1. Therefore, this reach from 0 to 1, and 0 itself has a 1, and 1 itself has a 0 in respect of when we reach ahead to 2. Therefore, 1 is a 0. So length interval is of a 0 area. These features, these values of the 0, this affine feature of the 0 as well is available here with us. Therefore, these students shall be properly initiated, and they shall be properly exposed as to how the formats flowing from within the organization format of Ekadike and Purvain are to be cited, are to be seen, are to be glimpsed, and one is to be face to face with all these features, and it is only thereafter that the emerging formats along their values and features are to be availed. And by having a proper insight, and while one being face to face with this organization of the Sutra Ekadike format, and when we can enlist, so it would be a blissful exercise that first of all one shall sit comfortably and one shall chase sequentially the organization format of the Sutra Ekadike and Purvain. Now the internal organization of Ekadike and Purvain, when it takes us to TC value 6, 4, 2, 7, 2, 4, 6, 8 and 1. See how it is parabolically reaching up to 3 steps, from 6 space as domain to 4 space as dimension to 2 space as dimension and dimension, and thereafter there happens to be a break. However, we know that value dha is a value which is a 4th letter of the letters ta, tha, da and dha. We know it is the origin fold. So value 7 at origin means when we are transcending within 6 space. Therefore, the transcendence within 6 space is going to be a transcendence which at the 4th step will take up to its origin, and it is 7th space which is playing the role of an origin of a 6 space. Very blissful, very wonderful, and it is very excellent feature. Therefore, for the excellent feature of the organization format of Ekadike and Purvain, then we have to sequentially chase the way the TCV values are being accepted by its different letters, 9 letters of Ekadikane, and further we'll see how the values will be flowing: 5, 6, then 2, then 7, then 6, then going to be 7 and going to be 1. See how the first fold is having a initial value 6 and the second formulation is having value 5. From here, when we will see that the line, when ultimately transforms into the circumference, or when this cyclic formation is there, then we'll see its organization ultimately will take us to north, east, this is west, north will be 16, here we are 24, and we'll see the difference value here is 5, here is 3, here is 6, and here is 2. See how this formulation is to be taken from 6 space as domain to 2 space as the dimension of dimension. However, in the second formulation, we have to reach at from 5 space to 3 space as its dimension. So that way we see there are very large number of features, there are very large number of values which are integrated in this organization format, and we have to be slow, we have to be approaching it step by step, and then it will start unfolding. And further we will see that these 16 letters, when are to be taken as the parallel to the first letters of Ganita Sutras 1 to 16, then it will be taking us to like this. So it is here, it is organizing 6, 4, 2 sequentially, but here it is going to be a 2-folder reach. Now these are the features which are inherently there, which are available to us, and all these features are available for us, and we have to avail these as formats for our blissful exercises to have the illustrative applications of the pure values of the mathematics of Ganita Sutra 1. Now we further can have a pause and let us visit the Vedic mathematics textbook, the only source textbook left behind by Swami Bharti Krishna Tirtha Ji Maharaj, and the diaries of Bharti Krishna Tirtha Ji Maharaj, some of which are available at the websites as well. Now there is one diary available on the website which is taking us from day 1 to last day of the year. So full 365 days, day by day exercises are there, and these sutras have been applied and worked out illustratively. Therefore, to learn and teach methodology, if is to be adopted, then let us chase stepwise the diary of Swamiji from day 1 to last day of the year. So these 365 days exercises on the one hand, and the 40 chapters book of Vedic Ganit, of introductory book of Swami Bharti Krishna Tirtha Ji Maharaj, when are taken up, then it will satisfy us as to our needs of the basic arithmetic operations, and then how the values of mathematics or arithmetic operations can be had on algebraic formats, and how algebra and arithmetic can be held on geometric formats, and how the geometric format ultimately is to be chased as manifestation and transcendence, for which we have to again come to the shelter of the Ganita Sutra 1, and then if we chase all these features, and we will see, and we are satisfied, and we absorb, and when we are face to face with, and when we have a complete insight of this whole lot of very rich spectrum of the formats emerging from within the organization format of Ganita Sutra 1 itself, then blissfully we will be working out the entire needs of our existence within our solar universe. Thank you very much.